Hello and welcome back to the Macca's Talk Hockey podcast, the podcast where me and my brother Charlie and our good friend Dan talk about English ice hockey, specifically the NIHL. And today's episode is the MK Lightning special. And I'm sure we're going to have a lot of MK fans tuning into this one. And if you don't know what the specials are, we basically go through each team, we do an episode on each team where we deep dive into how they did last season, looking at the roster they've got signed up for this new season, our expectations, and our ones to watch each. Not sure if we're going to have an interview in this one. If we do, I'll insert in. If we don't, we'll just go straight into the each segment. Hello, Jack here. Just to quickly nip in, we actually had a special guest on this Milton Keynes episode, assistant coach Joe Wilson, and it was a really good interview. Actually, I think you're really going to enjoy it. You get a different insight into what it's like coaching a team. He was working with Tim Wallace the last few seasons. He's back next season. And we had a good laugh as well. So, yeah, we had an interview with Joe Wilson, which will be in this Milton Keynes special. So you can look forward to listening to that. But apart from that, yeah, and enjoy the rest of the MK Lightning special. That's how we doing. We did just film the Swindon one, so we're doing a back-to-back one. But yeah, MK's special episode. And we'll start with last season, and it was a very successful end to their season. After quite a tough ending to the league, missing out to the Leeds Knights with 2 weeks to go. I think they finished in the end 1 point behind them, but it was that crucial game where Leeds beat them in Milton Keynes. They bounced back and they ended up winning the playoffs, which was huge for them. They needed that because if they went without a trophy last season, it would have been an unsuccessful season. But Charlie, how would you kind of sum up their season?
It was a good year. I think that's the word I'd use is good. I think they would be very disappointed in how the cup went. So I'd say they probably wouldn't
Yeah.
have been thrilled with the start. You shouldn't really be losing to Romford in a semi-final, but credit to Romford. I think they finished the year. Wow, I think they took a dramatic turnaround when Forsberg signed.
Yeah.
I think he made a huge impact. I thought they were disappointing to lose to Leeds in that game, and then they won the
That
playoffs,
game.
which saved their season. But I think, yeah, good. I wouldn't go above good. If I was to give it a rating out of 10, it would be in that 6.5, 7 out of 10. I know you'd rate it higher, but
I'd give it a 7, I'd say.
they won the playoffs, and that's good. But I think last year I would say they probably should have won the league. And I know that's hard to say, but I think they have the squad to do it. And I think maybe the lateness of Forsberg coming in was the reason for that. But yeah, it was a good year for MK. It was a good year, and I think them having silverware, I don't think any of their fans are going to complain.
Yeah. Yeah, the season did change a little bit down when Forsberg come in because we've spoken about Spatterfall and I actually think he'd be really good in a different league which is a lot more physical. But Forsberg come in and he was the defenseman which they needed in terms of running the power play. 5-on-5 was that main guy, and yeah, he really changed it around. Obviously, Norris come back as well, and he scored a lot of points. And when you get given that opportunity. If you'd have said at the start of the season, you've got a game against Leeds at home, which is probably the title deciding game, they probably would have taken that. But Leeds, that's what they do, isn't it? And they learnt from that Milton Keynes and they went into playoffs. They had a tough first weekend. They nearly lost out to Romford. I think it was like 7-6 in overtime, a crazy little game. They then lost both to Swindon, but the last four games, the two against Sheffield and the game against Leeds and Peterborough, was the best four games of their season. And if Milton Keynes can take anything into next season, they need to take those last four games, don't they?
Yeah, I think as sort of a person, obviously we went to a few of the MK games. I think I went to all the Leeds MK games. So I saw him obviously on that big stage against the big teams. Um, I can't help but sort of always think that Forsberg was the type of guy that they needed from the very start. I feel like that was the type of guy that they maybe wanted, but maybe they couldn't get. And I think that's why that sort of happened halfway through the year. When we talk about the league and how close they were, you look at their roster last season, you look what players they've lost this year. You don't. I can't also help but think, was that an opportunity missed? Like, you had that team, you had that roster there, and then are you going to be able to do that again? Like, are you going to be able to get that close again? Because I'm not saying their team this season isn't going to be competitive, but when you compare this team to last season's team, there's a lot of differences in there. And some of those players aren't going to be up to what those players are that left. You've got Venus there, you've got Solder there, you've got Max Stewart there, you've got some big guys there that have left the team, and like we said in like earlier podcasts, it's hard to replace those guys. And
the Brits, it's Brits.
Yeah, and they've replaced those guys in sort of a different way. But are these guys going to be competitive enough now to be competing for that league? And I can't, yeah, like I said, I can't help but think, is that an opportunity lost for MK last year, being missing out on the league by that little points?
Yeah, but let's big them up. I know Charlie will struggle to big them up. Well, as us all, because they are what you'd call the pantomime villains of the league. But to win the playoffs, incredible. A few standouts for me. Obviously, Headley was really, really good. Dylan Lawrence getting that overtime winner was huge for them. I think if Leeds end up winning in overtime, Brown scored with like a second to go. So it's just mental how quick it changes. And Venus was quality in the final, getting those 2 goals. And that was so big for Milton Keynes getting that playoff win, because they got the cup the season before, but you need one of the big ones. And they finally got one over Leeds, getting that playoff, beating them in the semi-final after Leeds have won the league the last 3 years. So I'd say it was a 7 out of 10 season, maybe 7.5, because it ended so well. But we'll get on to the interview if we have one. If not, we'll get into the second part of the episode. Hello and welcome back. We've got a special guest for our Milton Keynes Lightning episode. Thank you very much, assistant coach Joe Wilson, for hopping on. I appreciate that, mate.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
How's your summer been? I know you're running a couple camps or helping out with a couple camps at the moment.
Yeah, so summer's pretty busy for me. So it was very busy, different this year. We had the season finished, obviously, on a massive high.
Yeah.
We had our end of season awards, and then that was on the Friday. Griff's testimonial, obviously, on the Saturday, and then on the Tuesday, I got on a coach to Holland with the GB16s for a week.
Nice.
5 days. So that was really fun. It was my first sort of GB trip. So that was a good experience for me.
Yeah.
Came back from that. That was in May, end of May. I worked for David Clark, so I helped run his hockey camps, Clark and Co Hockey.
Oh, yeah.
So we did the first adult camp was end of May, and then we've been going all through July weekends. We've done 2 skills and drills, a power skating, a shooting and goaltending, and we're just on our week-long pro one this week in Nottingham.
Oh, nice one. So
Yeah.
the hockey doesn't stop all year
No,
round.
no. If anything, it probably the season's probably
Speeds
my
up.
break. My break, if I'm honest, because we finish here, we go to Gillingham for 2 days, we go to Widnes for a couple of days, and then we start back in MK skating. So
Oh my
it's
goodness.
literally it's been non-stop this summer, but it's fun. I enjoy it. So
Oh yeah, it's what
that's the main
you
thing.
live for. And MK actually have the pre-season game a week before, don't they? On the 29th. And I
Yeah,
think everyone else has them a week later. So you're starting a week earlier as well.
yeah.
Against
So week
Coventry, I
earlier,
think.
yeah, a week earlier for us. Coventry away on the Friday, and then
Yeah.
Tilburg at home on the Saturday. So it'll be some good tests for us. I like playing the different teams,
Yeah,
especially
I
in
like.
pre-season.
Yeah, it's like a proper test, isn't it? And I think I'm going to try and get down to the game on the Friday, because I love going to Coventry anyways. So that'll be good. It's definitely, I think, helped. Well, it's clearly helped you because you've got used to playing in that Coventry rink. Come the end of season playoffs. But I'm
Yeah.
sure we'll get to that in a bit. But we'll go back to the start then. Obviously, how did you grow up? Getting into hockey. I know you spent a bit of time playing it, and you've obviously come into coaching as well. But yeah, talk to us how you got into hockey.
Well, really weird. So, like my family's more of a football background.
Oh yeah.
So like, but growing up, I just wasn't interested in it. Like my dad played and managed football, my brother played, and I just wasn't interested at all.
Yeah.
And then my dad worked with I'm going back some years now, so you might even remember like Darren Cotton, who played for the Pirates, like back
No,
in the
no,
day.
before my time.
Yeah, and on one of the a couple of the imports, and so
Yeah.
they would come in and be like, "Oh, we've got some tickets. Like, do you want to come?" It's like, "Yeah, okay." Came, watched. Next week they were again the same. Like, we've got like some 2-for-1 tickets. I think they were promotion with the team, and they had that for like 4 weeks.
Yeah.
By then, I was just hooked. I loved it.
Yeah.
Started skating, played, and like I was really fortunate with my age group because so you don't realize at the time, but like so I'm a year younger than Luke Ferrara, so every year I would play with Feds,
Oh,
and
nice.
like he was unreal. Like at 12 years old, you knew this kid was going to be a player. And then like I think he's either a year or 2 years behind me as Lewis Hook. He would like play up. So me being like a late starter, like not really used to it, I wasn't a very good skater. It was like when it sort of got serious, like 14, 16s was
Yeah.
like limited ice time. Still like enjoyed it, still loved it, sort of played all the way through, played a bit of NIHL too, but really could understand and read the game really easy. Like that side for me was super easy always. Like I could understand the systems, I could know what skills I needed to win a battle, or when I got the puck, it was just the foot speed and the actual skill itself that let me down. So when the leagues collapsed, well, before that, I started working on the hockey schools and said I wanted to get into coaching, so started sort of helping out in these hockey schools and was really fortunate, met Corey Nielsen,
Oh,
who
nice. Not a
was
bad guy to bump
no,
into.
no, well, like he hit between him and David, they kind of became like a mentorship for me. So I was 16, 17, like at college at the time, and Corey invited me to like their pre-season training camp in Nottingham. So it was the year they won everything that year. So it was the year when they had like people like Jonathan Weaver, Stevie Lee, Eric Werner, David Ling, Kowalski was the goalie. Um, and so like David lived in Peterborough at the time, so I'd get on my moped from my parents at like
Go meet him.
5:30 in the morning to get to his for 6. Nearly lived 15 minutes away on a moped that does 30 miles an hour. That took a long time. And then we would drive up to Nottingham. I'd go on the ice and like push pucks around and just learn how to coach, learn how to do all the schedules, how to plan practice, how to deliver the video. And it was like honestly, it's probably one of the best times. Like, didn't even realize what was going on. Like, it was like an apprenticeship program.
Yeah.
And then would jump back in the car and come back, and that was like every week. And I found myself then at like 17 being like at college learning like what I was wanting to do as a trade, and was like, "Oh, they'll be doing power play today. Wonder what they're doing. Like, I wonder what drills they put in for warm up," and was never really then focused on what I was doing.
Yeah.
Obviously grew up a bit, coached junior hockey and still played NIHL two. And then when the EPL sort of collapsed and all the leagues got mucked around, my coach in NIHL two sort of said, "Look, you're going to really like the league's hard, like we're bringing in new players. Do you want to become part of the coaching staff?" So like, yeah, absolutely. So sort of decided to stop playing and coached there for a year. Then went to Chelmsford for about 4 years. I think I was there, and then ended up in MK. But still been able to sort of keep my relationship with Corey and sort of along the lines of others like you and King. So like last
Yeah.
summer, before we started, I went and spent a week in Glasgow with Corey on his training camp, so sort of self-development and benefit myself. And they've been really good mentors for me and really helped me going into it. But like I said, that time in Nottingham was probably some of the best times
Well,
of my
when you were
career.
going through that, waking up early mornings, just wanting to do that, was that when you knew, okay, my maybe hockey ability isn't quite at the level of a Luke Ferrara, so I'm going to go down the coaching route?
I kind of knew that before, but I always just thought I just coached juniors. Like
Yeah,
I just
okay.
coached an under 18s team or an under 10s. Like I was doing under 10s at the time, and I love doing under 10s because they're so little and they just enjoy the game.
Yeah,
It's so
they
much
don't
fun.
care, do they, if they're falling?
No, they're just like, "Oh, we hit the puck today. Like we did really well." But no, like I remember like so originally my parents would drop me off at David's,
Yeah,
and he would take me and he'd drop me off back at my parents' house. And then he was having to pick up his son Morgan from school. It's like how long we're talking about, well, how far back we're talking about. And he like texts like, "Look, I'm really struggling to get you home and then get across town to pick Morgan up. So like I need you to sort of sort out a way
your own
home."
way, yeah.
And so it was like, okay, and he just asked the kit guy, Adam Goodridge, like, "Look, do you mind if I leave an old stick here so that I can then jump on my moped and go with my skates in a rucksack?" And he was like, "Yeah, that's fine, like not a problem. Like, why are you even asking? Like, you're here
Yeah,
every week, just leave stuff. And I think at that point it was sort of like I would do anything to get there, like anything. It frustrated me that I could only go because of like how their schedule was and how my schedule was. I could only go 1 day a week, and there was
Yeah.
even like days where like I was at college, so I wasn't working, where like we would have half term or Christmas at college, and I would pay to get the train to Nottingham because I just wanted to be there.
Yeah.
And I just love hockey. Like I'm just a like I could talk about it all day.
Definitely. Yeah,
I could bore
it's what it
people.
does to you, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
and then obviously you said the NHL's kind of split to then, and it was the one NHL one, NHL two. And how talk us through how you got your first kind of coaching head coach role at Chelmsford in the National two, I believe it was.
Yes, honestly, like I won't say luck, but just right place, right time. So was just getting ready to go back to Peterborough as like an assistant and just happened to be scrolling through Facebook and they were advertising for a head coach.
Really? Oh,
And was
nice.
like, oh wow, like this is interesting. Again, like Ewan King had played there, so I spoke to him, spoke to Ben Clements, who had been the coach previously, and then was like applied, had a phone call with Derek Bartlett, who was the owner, and then before you know, I was offered like a 2-year contract there. And it was like, oh wow, now I've got to like tell Peterborough I'm not coming back, and
Yeah.
no one actually believed me. Like I put a message in the group chat that I was leaving, and a few of the lads like, oh yeah, good joke on a Sunday. I was like, no, being serious, like I'm getting announced tonight. But yes, that was some fun times there. A lot of traveling, but that sort of got me used to it as well. And
Yeah.
you know, it was a it.
What would you have been? Sorry, like 26, 27?
So I would have been. I'm trying to think now. I think I was younger than that. It
Really?
was before I had my second child, so probably like 23.
Young coach. You must have been the youngest in the league then.
I think I was at that point. Yeah,
Oh,
I think
nice.
I
And I
think
did read up actually. I did a bit of research. You won the playoffs in 2019, I believe.
yes, that was my first year there. Yeah, we
How was
won.
that getting the first bit of silver as a coach? I bet that felt quite rewarding of
Yeah,
all the kind of. I bet you thought back to all those training sessions. I'm not saying it was those reasons, but all those training sessions, all the hard work, and you get rewarded with some silverware in Chelmsford as the head coach.
yeah, it was really nice. That year, like we had so much a bit of internal adversary because the rink shut that year. So we
Oh,
played
okay.
first, we played until October at Riverside, then they closed it for refurb. So we had to go to Lee Valley
Hmm.
and play like the rest of our home games out of Lee Valley. So it was like a bit extra travel, bit more travel for the guys. So then to get to that playoff final, and they'd been there the year before, and it was like literally the same setup. They'd beaten the guy because back then it was like top four, only went to the playoff final weekend, but they
Yeah,
didn't do like the 1-8. So the previous year they'd beaten the top seed and then lost in the final, and then we got there, we played the top seed, we beat them, and we're playing like the same, it was like a do-over in the final.
yeah.
So yeah, when that like I remember the final buzzer going and like a wave of emotion like coming over, like that was I think you always remember every trophy, but that one definitely sticks home a little bit.
Nice one. And you spent your few years there, gained some experience, I guess, coaching the men's teams with Chelmsford. And then talk us through how that assistant role come at Milton Keynes. Because I know Timmy got that player coach of Milton Keynes after spending one season there, I think, before.
Yeah.
And then he became player coach. So how did you get that assistant role and you're still there now?
Well, to be honest, I actually have to thank Lauren Cox, who was the funder manager. So
Okay.
I'd been let go from Chelmsford about February, March time that
Yeah.
year. And Tom Roberts, the director at MK, was looking for like a bench coach.
Yeah.
And she sort of said, well, I know this person's available. He lives like an hour away from MK. So Tom reached out, and originally it was just like a bench coach role. And I was like, look, I'm really looking for something a bit more. Like I really think I can help benefit here, the team. Like I'd really like to come on board as an assistant coach. Then me and Timmy sat and had a conversation and sort of an interview on the phone. He
Yeah.
did his necessary background checks that he needed to do on me, and they decided that um, to take me on board. And so I've been there. This has been now my fourth
Fourth,
year, I think. Fourth year.
fourth, yeah.
Yeah, fourth
Fourth
year.
season. Nice one. And talk us through, because some fans won't really know kind of the coaching behind what goes into coaching an ice hockey team. So obviously Tim was player coach at the same time, so he kind of had to worry a bit about how he was going to play the next game and stuff like that. So I'm sure you got a bit of responsibility in terms of the tactics and coaching as well. And I know you took some of the training sessions as well. I've seen a few of those videos. The mic'd up one was pretty cool as well. So talk us through kind of your role within that assistant.
So we would split everything. I'm very big. I like to think I've got a good work ethic.
Yeah.
I hate sitting around.
Wow, so you woke up at 5:30 in the morning to go to Nottingham. I can do that.
Yeah, so it was almost like I said to them that I could help and I wanted to help. So we would split everything. So if we started off on a Monday, one of us would review the Saturday game, the other one would review the Sunday, and then we'd put our clips together. There's like teaching and good clips.
Yeah.
And then we would go, okay, who do you want to pre-scout? Tim would normally take all the special team stuff, but 5-on-5, like let's say we were playing Swindon and Leeds, he might take Leeds and I'll take Swindon. And then between us, we'd present our findings of pre-scout to the team. Practice, some drills he would run, some drills I would run. If it was a drill I was comfortable with, that it was my sort of drill, I would run it. If it was like an optional skate where he wanted to focus on skating, it was a bit of a flow session, which is more just skill rather than systematic, he would let me run the session. And then when it came to like the game plan, he would set out the game plan, we'd discuss it. He would do like the initial meeting. So most teams have like you arrive around 2 hours before and you have a meeting about an hour and a half before face off. So he would do that, which would just reiterate everything we wanted to go over. And then it was like it kind of like trying to let him put his player head on, get ready, get warmed up, get where he needed to be. And I would take over then from that point, and it would be I would call the line changes. I would try and get the matchups that we discussed right and push the game plan. Between us, we would do the in-between period talks. If he felt there was something that needed to be said, he would say it, or he would just pop his head in and say, look, I really think we need to focus on this. But we sort of worked it that he could be focusing on playing and be a player, and I could do what I was there to do, which was to coach. And you know, it depending on the situation with timeout, sometimes I would call it and I would have the play set, or he would call it and he would have the play set, or if the other team called it, I would run something or he would run something. It was just we just work we work really well together. We're so similar, so that's kind of why it works. And we got like it was quite funny. Like we always say we got telepathy because there's some stuff where like he'll be sat thinking, I should probably go and tell Joe this. He's about to come in. I should really tell him it. And I would come in to be like one of the first things I say, or one of the things that I finish on.
I was going to say that.
and afterwards, he'd be like, "Wow!" Like I was literally sat there thinking, "I need to tell Joe this. I need."
That's
to tell
good
Joe
though.
this.
That's good though.
Yeah, yeah, and similar with like maybe like line changes sometimes, or pulling the goalie in situations, like especially with him being on the ice.
Yeah.
You know, it took some trust. Like the first year, we didn't do it like that. The first year, he did a lot of it. I did some of the video stuff. But then we spoke in that summer, and I was like, I hope you can trust me a bit more. Like, I think we should try this. Like, I think it will work. It allows this. You know, certain situations where if you're on the ice and a decision needs to be made, like I'm happy to make that decision. And I think that's when all that experience from Nottingham and from Peterborough and from being a head coach kind of like came into play.
No, that's good to hear. I think I've learned so much just from you saying that, and I think that's the kind of stuff which fans love to hear, which they might not know about. And I think I was going to say kind of what has been the key to success so much at home, because you got an amazing team, don't get me wrong, but you still have to play the way which is going to win games on your home ice. And you had this 2 seasons ago, you lost one game and it wasn't even in the league. So obviously you can't give everything away, but you guys really know how to grind it out on that home ice and use it to your advantage.
Honestly, not a clue. I don't think about stuff like that.
Really?
You know, I remember sort of seeing it when people were like, "Oh, probably just after Christmas," we're like, "Oh, when are MK going to lose at home? Like they've not lost for so long." And I was like, "Have we not?" Like, and I think that year our road record was quite bad. So I think because we were losing or overtime losing on the road, I didn't really notice that we were winning so much at home. It was just like, okay, how do we fix this? Obviously the ice helps. Having the bigger ice definitely does help. And I think teams that are smaller ice pad, they struggle when it gets like to those final moments.
Yeah.
I think
So
every team
I'd say you're probably, and it showed at Coventry actually in that game against Leeds, you're probably the fittest team in the league, being able to go up and down and forecheck and play that style which you and Timmy like to play.
yeah, and we push the guys hard in practice, and I'm sure every other coach does. But we really do have high intensity practices from like the get go. And then yeah, I think just the ice, the guys' fitness, the style that we're playing, it's what we kind of wanted on that. I think every team has a good home ice. You go
Yeah.
to places
Oh yeah.
like Swindon's good home ice because you just know the bounces as well. You just
Yeah.
get to know where the good spots are. The goalies are comfortable because they practice on them angles every week, twice a week. So they know where it's coming back off the backboards. They know the angles, and it just helps you so much.
Yeah. We'll go on to last season then. And I have to say it was very entertaining, that kind of title race all the way down to the wire. And you narrowly missed out, but how motivated were you and Tim to knowing this playoff? It was a big playoffs for you. The last piece of silverware up for grabs, and there's always a lot of expectations on Milton Keynes. But you come into that playoff game on the Saturday, and I gotta say, for me personally, after watching some games in Milton Keynes, it was probably one of your best games you've played, and you could really tell from the off that you were going to forecheck hard, you were going to follow through your hits, and you just looked fitter as well than Leeds as during the game.
Yeah, I mean, to touch on the season, it was probably one of the toughest seasons. It was so much fun having that title race down to
Oh,
that
yeah.
wire. But you know, obviously we had an early cup exit, which we weren't happy about. Then we lose the league by 1 point. So like you said, it was got to that playoff, and it was like, we really need to actually perform. And we hadn't been at Coventry for 2 years. So I think once we got there, it was like, right, we're here now. Like we've done that bit. Kind of not whatever happens, it's an improvement from the past year, but we're here. Let's just play our hardest. This could be our last game. Let's literally play it like it's our last game.
Yeah.
And we didn't even focus on the Sunday game at all. It was literally right. Leeds Saturday. Let's get through Leeds. Let's show that we can beat them. Show that we can be better than them.
Yeah.
And I think because they'd won the league by that 1 point, it was sort of made it that stung. Like, of course it stung. And we lost at home to them earlier on in the year, which kind of lost us that game or that league. And it was like, okay, let's really hurt them here. Let's really get into them.
Yeah.
And even at that, like I remember obviously Kieran scored. It was an amazing goal with about
Yeah.
3-4 seconds left.
Yeah.
And in previous games, like people's heads would have gone down. And I just remember like the line I put out afterwards was County, Harry, and Mac, which was like one of our top lines last year. And they all just looked, they were like, we are going to go and get a goal before we're not playing defense now. We're not worrying.
You had to kill that penalty as
Yeah.
well, and flipping heck, like that was the biggest kill of your season, and everyone just bought into it. And that's where I really credit Milton Keynes in that playoff run, because there's been so much adversity they've come over, and it was do or die really, that overtime period for the Lightning. And it was good to watch as a neutral there in Coventry. And how are you feeling on the bench as a coach? Obviously Tim's playing, so what was it like? What were the feelings on the bench from yourself?
Uh, Honestly, to start with, I forgot that we were going 5-on-5 to start with because
Yeah,
I'm so used to going like 3-on-3. So I
yeah.
started drawing up stuff for 3-on-3, and I was like, oh, hang on, we're 5-on-5, aren't we? Like, oh, which almost made it easier because I knew we'd dominate a large portion of that game. So it was
Yeah,
just
you did. Yeah, first
reiterating,
and second period, like you were very, very good.
yeah. So it was just reiterating that, reiterating stuff on when time came to kill, reiterating stuff to kill, and just sort of stick to that game plan that's been working. And like honestly, when I'm on the bench, I zone out, like
Yeah,
completely zone out. Like remember getting like home and like my family saying to me like, "Oh, it was so noisy," and then I was like, "Was it?" Like couldn't tell you. And then like watch the stream back the following mornings for the video review, and put the sound on and was like, "Oh my God!" Like wow, it was loud.
yeah,
And I just go like that, and I'm like, okay, I'm here now. This that's around me, just as much as it's there and I hear it, it sometimes in those tougher games, like it doesn't process because I'm just
Yeah.
focused. Okay, what line's going up next? Who are they sending? I
Yeah, you're
think we
doing
had
a
the
job.
last change too. So it's really important when you're coaching. Like that last change is vital. So when you're at home and you get the last change, it's unreal. If you're on the road and you're trying to get line matchups, which
Yeah,
in that game technically we were the road team.
yeah,
It was like, right, who are they trying to send? Who do we want out? And then on the kill, it was like focusing on details for the kill.
yeah. Oh, that it was really good, and then getting to the final, and you said similar to what Griffin said. So we interviewed Griffin, and he said it was all for us. It was all about getting to Coventry, and once we're at Coventry, we've almost got this confidence about us that we're here now, so we may as well do it. And it got to that final, and you guys didn't look nervous whatsoever, and you played your way, and fair play to everyone because they bought into that way of which you and Timmy wanted the guys to play. And what was it, 6-1 in the end? And it must have just been such a big relief for you that all of that hard work has been rewarded at the end of the season.
Absolutely. You start in August, you go all the way to April. It's long nights, it's long days for the staff, all and that's all the staff. That's not just the coaching staff, that's the physios, the kit guys. It's long days for the players, it's hard for the families. We practice at night, guys go to work and then come to practice, then they have to go to work the next day. They're away in Scotland and coming back and getting back late and then playing someone the next night or going to work the next day. So for that Sunday, like again, it was like, right, we're here. Like this could be our last game together as a group. This could be
Yeah,
some players' last game. This could be like we're here now, and it just felt right as well. Local derby game kind of for us because it's
yeah.
Peterborough versus MK, and like took me back because I remember being like a kid watching Peterborough versus MK at Coventry. So like it was like, oh my Lord, like for me, like I never thought 11-year-old boy who sat in the stand there thought I'd be on the bench coaching, let alone coaching the rival team
Yeah,
back then. So that was, it was just a game.
yeah.
It was just, and that's what we kind of said. It was just another game. It was just another game of a group that could do something special.
Nice one. And to just touch quickly on that post game celebrations because the fans, give credit to Milton Keynes fans. They come out in their numbers, all in their pink shirts and t-shirts and whatever. And yeah, it must have been special to then go back to Milton Keynes, and then you've got another set of fans there as well filling out the rink. So how was that?
Yeah, like you touched on earlier on about like the Chelmsford win
Yeah,
and that sticking with me, and I think this one will stick with me more purely because of the fans.
yeah,
Like turning up to Coventry and that sea of pink outside the rink on the Saturday was like ridiculous. Like
yeah.
like
Everyone bought into it.
unreal. Like yeah, and every one of the MK fans buys into stuff like that, and it's so important, and the players love it. Like the staff love it. We do have some of the best fans in the league, and they come out in their numbers on the road and at home, and then we get through Saturday. We come Sunday and we're like, okay, they probably won't do the same, and it was probably better. Like we come off the bus and we had to walk round like the front of the rink
Yeah,
and there was like line. It was almost like like a procession,
yeah,
like a parade procession. It was
yeah.
like honestly, like it was honestly like that. So you do that, you win, you get on the bus, and we pulled up outside the rink, and you can just hear the noise coming from like the doors, like the buildings shaking, and that's something that honestly, like it brings a massive smile to my face thinking about it. It's something no matter what I do now throughout my career, I'll always remember that because of those fans.
Yeah. It was special. I saw the video online of it, and yeah, what a couple nights that must have been. And yeah, as you said, rewarding after such a long season. And we are 3 weeks away, so I will touch on next season. Because Timmy will be joining you on the bench this season, and also Christie as well, which will be exciting. For the young D men you've got. What's your thoughts and feelings going into next year? Because it's certainly going to be even more competitive.
I'm really excited for it. Like when Louis played, I got on really well with Louis.
Yeah,
As I said earlier on, me and Timmy are so in sync. So it will be different for me because I've got different roles this year. Now there's three of us. I think the league's definitely got better, gets better every year. You know, we've had some changes, other teams have had some changes. I'm excited to see everyone's new imports because some of them look really good.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see how teams have progressed, how they've developed, how they've got added strengths because every team's added strengths. So it is going to be, I think it's going to be another dogfight, but I don't think it's going to be two horses like it's been in previous years. I think it's a dogfight with 4 or 5 horses now.
Yeah, it's got to that point where a lot of teams have strengthened in the areas and learnt from last season, and we'll have to see it commence. But we mentioned those couple pre-season games. How excited are you to be back behind the bench this time? In 3 weeks' time, back in Coventry. You ended in Coventry, and you're back there now.
Yeah, I think I'll have a smile on my face with the memories from that day, definitely. Again, I'm sure the MK faithful will be there smiling with
Oh
me.
yeah,
It will just be this is the start of a new season. This is where it starts. Like you can't, as much as I like looking back and thinking about these things, it's like, yeah, well, we did that. Like we've done that. Now let's do something we haven't done or repeat that. It's focusing on the here and now and focusing on what's in front of us. And Coventry's going to be a big test. You know, they've
oh,
gotten stronger.
yeah.
Hilberg will be a good test for us as well. And then it will just be back to the regular season and getting 2 points where we can and picking up a win after win after win, hopefully pushing on forward to get something we haven't got yet.
Um, I won't touch on every player, which because there's been quite a lot of change for the roster this season. So I'm not going to go through every player because that would probably take quite a long time. But how excited are you as a coach? From a coach's point of view, you've got a lot of new younger players who are they're going to be hungry to battle for spots in the team. So how excited are you to work with Timmy to implement them in the team and to get them, I guess, improving in their game because you've got some kids coming for, I guess, 19, 20, 21 years old who this is the start of their kind of men's career.
Yeah, that's the bit I enjoy the most, I think. Um, like just to touch back, like Ben Solder's probably a perfect example. So Ben Solder came and did some of my hockey camps when he was 14, 13.
Really?
So I've known him for so long. So to go and then coach him as a man was really special for me. And then to see him progress makes me happy, makes me feel like I've done my job as much as like my job is to help the team win and to win championships. Like each player is individual, each player has individual goals. Like Archie Salisbury, I've known him since he was 5 years old. Like he was on
Yeah,
my
Peterborough, innit? Yeah.
he was on my under 10s team, and now he's a man, and I'm coaching him as a man. But to me, he's still this little 5-year-old boy, and
A
so
man who can drop the gloves as well. He can stand
a
up for
man
himself.
who will wrestle a bear and probably will or will add. So then to get these new fresh players and like the likes of like we've had in the previous years, the Malik Martellis, the Max Stewarts, the Carter Hamills, the Cameron Hamills, and work with them. That's like the best for me, like because they just want to get better. They just want to learn. Their minds are so much like sponges.
Yeah.
So they retain information so much. You can show them, you can detail with it, and they just want to push on to get to the next level. And that's what I always say to them. Like that's my job to get you to that next level.
Yeah.
And when you do, I'll be super happy. Like when I heard Mac was going and Sol was going, the first thing I do is ring them, congratulate them, tell them how proud I am of them, because I am. Like see all these like going back to hockey schools, we see all these kids that come through, and me and David sit down at least once a summer and go, what's this kid? What's this kid doing? What's that kid doing that came through from 5 years ago?
Yeah.
And that's why I do it. That's why I love it. Like
Yeah. I do. I will ask this. What's it like then, with being probably the biggest team in the National League? You've got the biggest fan base in the league, but with that comes a lot of pressure. Do you feel the pressure as a coach, or what's kind of when it gets to those big moments where there's a lot of expectation on Milton Keynes? How do you kind of deal with that as a coach?
Yeah, so I used to really struggle with that. It's probably one of my biggest downfalls.
You were so young, weren't you, when you were first head coaching? So
yeah, and it wasn't just like heck when I first got to MK as well. I really struggled with it, and
yeah,
then I did a lot of work with a mindset coach, MG1, Colin Booth,
nice.
and we sort of went through a few things that can do, and actually kind of worked out that I feel I actually probably perform better in those high octane moments. And we look through something like there's hundreds of players that have played the game, and if you go back, like even if you went back to like these players that have now retired, not even the close ones, like the ones that retired 10 years ago, and said you can play one more game, but it's for Milton Keynes against Leeds for the league. Do you want to play it? They would 100% say yes.
Yeah.
Like no, like 100% say yes. And so, like, it's like pressure is a privilege. Like, you should really like just feed off the energy. If it's at home for us, it's easy because the crowd's so. But then, likewise, on the road sometimes, like we've been in like Peterborough at Christmas, and
Selling out all those
like
blocks.
like it's the away block's full, the home side's full, the building's like rocking. You do feel like the roof's going to come off, which if you've ever been to Peterborough, it's probably likely it might come off. And it's just the noise and electricity from both sets of fans is like, why wouldn't you want to be a part of this? Why
Yeah.
wouldn't you want this?
Yeah, I completely understand that, and I think you're going to have a lot more of them games next year with every team getting better. I do want to ask this question: you must pride yourself in looking smart and ready for a game, because how many outfits and suits do you have ready for game days? Because
I've
for me, you're definitely the smartest coach in the league.
I've got 2 suits. That's it.
Okay,
No, 3, but I
home
don't.
and away,
No,
or
no, it just depends on what the other team's wearing. But sometimes I do mess up.
yeah.
Um, and that like goes back to like Nottingham.
Okay.
Like, because when I first went there, they did a couple of games, and the games that I went to, I would sit up in the boxes and do like a pre-scout or like plus minus or something like that. And I remember like saying to Corey, like, what do I need to wear? Like, because obviously I was just a kid coming, I didn't have a team tracksuit or anything. And he was
Yeah.
like, well, you're a coach, so coaches wear suits. So it was like, oh, okay, like that makes sense. And that just kind of always
Yeah.
stuck with me. Um, and I pride like one of our things, we want the team to be professional and the players to be ready. And I just think, that starts from the top. So that starts from me on the bench or Tim on the bench as it comes to this year. Obviously, he's the head coach, so it's his if he wants us all to wear tracksuits, then I'll be wearing a tracksuit this year. So I haven't had that conversation with him yet. But suits, I've got 3 in total, but one of them never really comes out for games.
Yeah.
So I've just got the 2 and then a lot of different shirts. I have to try and rotate them all through.
Nice one. And which was the lucky shirt at Coventry? Did you wear it on the Saturday and the Sunday, or?
No, I think I kept the same tie. I think I
Okay, it's
normally
the
go,
tie.
I've only got a couple of ties, but the ties go with the shirts.
Yeah.
I think I kept the same tie.
Okay.
I used to be really superstitious, and
Really?
I try not to be, but I am, and I've got a few things that I do before a game that drives everyone crazy. And they take the mick out of me, and they
Do
say,
you want to
"Oh,
share any of them?
um, it like one of them is like like this the stanchions in MK that come across.
Yeah.
I have to touch it twice when I walk to the bench.
Oh,
And
okay.
that's just something like that I've gone through with
Yeah.
like this mindset thing of like getting myself ready for the game, but it's before like every period.
Mm.
So like our kit guy, if he's behind me, I just hear him giggling. So I try and let him go in front. But then if he goes in front, he always like looks behind to sort of
Really?
watch me do it. But yeah, I've probably got too many to mention, and half of them I don't even realize that I'm doing. I know I click my pen like insane amount to the point where like Louis probably going to get annoyed with me this year for doing it because he used to get annoyed with me as a player when I did it, so it's going to drive him insane. But that's just I just stand there clicking the pen like I
Really?
don't realize that I'm doing it. So
Yeah.
it's all them little things that I don't realize. So I don't try not to let it impact, but it does. So sometimes I will be like, oh, wore that one last time and we lost. Like, not going to wear that one today.
Yeah, no, I think it's all right to be superstitious. We always end with this question then, and I know we've spoken so much about the Milton Keynes fans, but what's your message to them going into this season with a lot of changes and not a lot of new players, players who've moved on as well? What's your message to them going into this season?
Just be them. Be loud. Be proud. We will do our best for you on the ice. Like that Coventry weekend was unreal for us and it was unreal for them. And as much as we deserved it, they deserved it just as much.
Nice.
It is just like keep doing what you're doing, get behind the team, and just keep being loud and the best fans.
Nice one. Congrats, as I said, congratulations on winning the playoffs. I appreciate you hopping on and giving us like an insight from a different point of view, because I don't think we've had a proper like assistant coach before come on. So that was a really good insight. And as much as you are probably going to be one of our rivals this season, I wish you personally good luck.
Thanks, Jack.
Nice one. We'll see you. Maybe I'll see you Friday if I come to that game.
Nice one. See you there.
Cheers, mate. Hello and welcome back. If there was an interview, happy days. If there wasn't, let's get straight into this season, because there is a lot of change and we'll quickly touch on it. Charlie, Dan spoke about it a little bit before. No Venus, no Max Stewart, no Ben Solder, no Corey McEwen, and no Carter Hamill. And if you want to say it as well, no Tim Wallace in the lineup. So just a lot of players who are not going to be on this season's team, and it's a completely different look. So just quickly touch on them, because I know you're quite good at explaining.
There's a big turnaround for them. For maybe fans who aren't MK fans or people just tuning in, maybe some Bison fans coming back to the league. I probably would say, I think MK fans would agree, Venus was probably their best British forward, along with Jordan Cowney. Max Stewart had a huge breakout year last year, which is why he's got that elite league spot. He scored some very, very clutch goals for them. Carter Hamill was an absolute dog, and he did exactly what you want from a third liner. Ben Solder, for me, their best British defenseman. He was phenomenal. Ben Solder is very, very good defensively at this level. And then finally, and I think it's definitely worth touching on. Wow, Corey McEwen as well, a good two-way centre on their third line. He brought a massive stability, and often on a very young third line, I think he had a very level head. And then finally, but I don't think least, I think this is a big loss, is Tim Wallace on the third line. He finished the year on third line. He was a big part of them winning playoffs, and I think Tim Wallace brings a physicality which I think there's only a handful of players in this league can bring. He literally brings an NHL level physicality. He knows how to hit. He's got very good IQ, and he was very, very, very good for them in playoffs. And I think at times he was probably overhated as an import. And that's coming from a Swindon fan. So yeah, I think they've lost some big players, but as we know with MK, they have plenty of new guys in that roster. They have a lot of new faces. They do have a lot of players. So it's going to be fun to go through them together.
Yeah. But I think it is the right call, in my opinion, to get Wallace on the bench so he can fully focus on coaching. Because if they want to win a league title, I think he needs to be able to see it all from the bench. Yeah, he's brought in some new imports. But we'll start on the D. They've kept Patrick Forsberg. We've spoke about him in the first segment. That is huge. Getting him for a full season, that could be the difference maker. They've kept Jordan Spadafor. Now, if you didn't know, MK have 5 imports. Only 4 of them can ice in a game. So 1 import will be scratched in every single game and will not be able to play. And they've re-signed Jordan Spadafor. I was surprised. We've spoke about it on one of the other episodes when he was announced. I was surprised. But if he is that 5th import, he can come in. He can be a big part of that decor. He played well next to Forsberg. And if they're playing in a physical game, maybe you bring Jordan Spadafor in. And I've heard he's one of the nicest guys off the ice as well. And I'm sure he gets along well with all the teammates. So it's not a bad little 5th import to have. But Dan, they've brought in 2 new British defensemen. They've got Josh Kelly, who's come in, who you know quite well, and they've also got Joshua Saunders from the Scottish League, 2 young defensemen who's going to be hungry to try and get themselves into this team.
Yeah, it's sort of, there's signings that you wouldn't expect MK to make. Like, if you were looking at the start of the season, you wouldn't expect MK to go in for a Josh Kelly.
You'd think, we'll go for Brad Bowering or someone like that.
Yeah, a guy that's sort of been around, obviously, B's, been around Basingstoke. Obviously, he's a great guy. I like him a lot. I like him in D. But no offense to him, I can't see him in that MK team. But I like what MK have done. They've lost some players, and they've been like, right, how can we sort of recruit these guys? And they've looked at a guy like Josh Kelly, a guy that's sort of, he's he's had a few injury troubles, like concussion troubles as well, which has sort of held him back a lot. But when he's been on the ice, he has made a difference for the teams that he's been on. And I think Kelly is the type of guy that you can give him a role, and I think he will play it to the way that you want it to be played. And I think it's going to be interesting to see how Kelly plays. He's never been in that sort of mentality like MK have got. He's never been in that competing team. Obviously, he wasn't in Basingstoke when we were competing for cups. Obviously, in Bees, they weren't competing either. But this is the first time in his career, probably, that he's been in a team where they're going to be competing every night. And it'll be interesting to see how he sort of adjusts to that, because it's going to be hard. You're going to have a lot of people looking at you. You're going to be under the spotlight a lot more than you would be in a team like Bees and Basingstoke. But if you're going to take a punt on someone, then Kelly is a guy that will give you sort of an outcome to what you've signed. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, he brings a physical side, which I know Wallace likes as well.
And Saunders, I don't really know much about him,
Yeah,
so I'm not going to
quickly
go too much into him.
I've got his elite prospects. He's from the SNL, and he got a point per game in the SNL as a D-man, which is pretty solid. And he's had a couple loan games to elite league teams in Fife and Dundee, getting some experience around there. So I think he'll bring a little bit, and it just creates a bit of competition in that D-core. And you lose the quality of Solder, which is massive. But you've got someone in there like Kelly, like Saunders, who are going to be busting their way into that D-core. And there's going to be a lot of competition in there. And I think Wallace will be hoping it's healthy competition. Let's get into their forward core, Charlie. We've mentioned the players who are leaving. They keep Callum Field, Rio Grinnell Park, Harry Gulliver, and Tom's Rutkiss, and they get Sean Norris for a full season, which is also big for them. And he actually missed the playoffs. So adding someone like him is really good. We'll start quickly with, we'll go Jarvis Hunt, a nice little third line centre. You can quickly touch on him. I think he'll kind of be that Corey McEwen replacement.
Yeah, I do. Young, 23 years old. I think he's from that area. He's been in Peterborough, and I think I think he plays above his age for me when I've watched him. He feels like he's been at this league a while. I think he's got a really good net front presence. I think he's great on the draw from what I can see. I think this is a very clever signing. It's quite a safe signing. I'd be surprised if he jumped into their top six, but I think he'll probably have that third line centre role as his own. He got 30 points in the national in 48 games last year, which was an improvement. Yeah, really like Jarvis Hunt as a signing, and I think any team would have him on that kind of third line role.
Yeah.
So yeah, really, really good signing from MK, and they've managed to pinch one off their rivals.
Yeah, not bad whatsoever. And he's a younger guy than Corey. And again, he's going to be looking to try and win some trophies with Milton Keynes. Elliot Lewis, we won't touch on him too much because we did actually have an episode with him. If you haven't seen that, go check that out. I know a lot of MK fans really enjoyed that. He comes into the lineup, whether he's third or fourth line, Dan. I think we're going to see a different Elliot Lewis who's playing with better players and in a team which is competing as well. So just quickly touch on him.
Yeah, I mean, give this guy a bit of freedom, and he's gonna create special moments. We know how he plays. He's a very fast skater. Throws the body, finishes his hits really well, and I think he's going to be the type of guy that MK is going to love. I think you've already seen, like, obviously the stuff online. He's had them quick fire questions. He's got a very likable personality.
Yeah, really nice guy.
And you know, when you've got that sort of personality, you know you're going to get on well with the MK fans, and they're going to be supporting you. They're going to be behind you, and I think that's what Elliot Lewis is going to love. Obviously, he couldn't speak highly enough of Bristol and how supportive they were. You come to MK and it's a totally different kind of support. These fans are expecting wins, and they're going to be supporting their team throughout to obviously get those wins for them. And yeah, Elliot Lewis, I think he's going to thrive in that MK atmosphere. And we talk about how hard it is to play in MK. I think Elliot Lewis is going to come into this team, and I think he's going to fit straight in.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's got a lot more to give as well. And the two Osborne brothers, exciting little duo to come in. Not sure where they're going to play, because it looks like they're quite good point scorers, Charlie, from what we see in the USPHL, getting pointed games. But a bit like the Hamills, when they come in as a pair, and they're young, they're hungry, they're going to be competing for those spots. And yeah, they've just got to do what Wallace expects of them, and I think yeah, they've just got to earn their place really, and I don't think they'll have a problem playing in this team week in week out.
Yeah, I think Wallace gives himself a hard job, but a potentially extremely rewarding job by signing so many talented guys in your team. And these Osborne brothers, they look good. They've got a point a game at the USPHL Premier. Some guys who have come out that league: Rhodes Mitchell King, Ed Bradley, Balint
Posty.
yeah, it's too late. But yeah, lots of guys have come from that league. Ben Norton did as well. So yeah, I think they've got a lot of talent. They're a bit of an unknown coming into this league, as the guys are from America. And yeah, I think the difficult thing for them is are they really fourth line players? Is my question mark, right? And I'm honest with this, and I've said this for a while with MK, is these guys seem like they've got offensive talent. They scored a point a game in their team last year. I don't think there's much use in putting offensive talent on a fourth line because you don't give your fourth line big opportunities. And ideally, you want your fourth line to go out there and skate hard for 30 seconds and then let the top line come back on. So, my only worry with this sign, and I'm not trying to be negative because I think the Osborne brothers are great, is I don't know if they'll get played in a position where they'll thrive.
Yeah.
And that's my biggest question mark. It could be that they play Spatterfall most weeks and the Osborne brothers consistently play third line minutes. And I think that makes a whole lot more sense. But for me, if they're both on a fourth line, I don't think you're ever really going to see the best of these brothers. But maybe I'm proven wrong, but they look like they got a lot of talent and a lot of potential. And we've seen guys with similar stat lines come to this league and score a point a game. I just don't know how they're going to do that at MK. But they're two talented players to have in the squad.
I think a bit like what we spoke with Swindon. Swindon are a bit different because Lipsy, Shaw and Bully can play a fourth line role, but Wallace has got options, and they're going to have to buy into the system, or they're not going to play. It's as simple as that. That's what it is with MK. It's brutal, and they've got so much depth they can afford to do that. Let's get into the imports then. Quickly touch on it. I'll say it in my opinion. 5 imports, I think, is crazy for what you'd say a semi-professional league. I think they're the only team in the league with 5 imports, and I get it. If you've got the money and the financial which they bring in, fair play to them. We've said so much good stuff about how brilliant it is seeing MK as a fan base. But 5 imports is crazy, and it does put a bit of expectation on it. You can have an import scratched every single game. If you get an injury, fair play. Like that, they can come in straight when you've got someone to cover. Go on, Charlie, quickly.
The one thing I did want to mention personally, some people will go, if you've got it, if you've got the money, then good. It didn't work in the EPL, and no one can convince me otherwise. The two teams who had an extra import in the EPL were, I believe, MK Lightning and Guildford Flames, who went to the Elite League, and our league went bust. I don't think it's a good thing for the league, a team having 5 imports. I think it harms the league. I think it puts pressure on lower budget teams. And I think there should be a cap for 4 imports. I'm not dissing MK in any sense of the imagination for taking advantage of the fact that there's that you can have 5 imports. But as you said, I think in a league which is semi-professional, where from what I know, budgets are so different from the top teams to the bottom teams. I don't think it's fair for them to have 5 imports in a 4 import league. But I think I don't blame them for taking advantage of it because they're able to. I wanted to make that point because I think it's fair to stand on what you think. And I would say the same if Swindon got 5 imports.
Yeah, I would say the same
if
as
Leeds
well.
would. I'm for the stability of this league, and I'm all for quality going up, but at the same time, I don't want the league to have what happened in the EPL happen again. I want the National League to have long-term stability, and I think 5 imports on a 4 import league just shows that it's getting a bit lopsided.
Yeah, I agree. If there's an injury, yeah, but you can bring players in this season. But we'll get into them because they got 3 exciting forwards. Start with Dom Gabai, and Dom Gabay, you know what you're getting with Gabay. And the thing I can't wait to see with him, Dan, is just what he's going to be like in a team which is actually competing, because he's scored ridiculous amount of points for Bees, but he's never been able to show it in a team which is up there competing for trophies. Now, he's got 100-point seasons. I don't think his expectation is to go and get 100 points again, Dan, but flip me, this is a guy who knows where the net is, going to be huge for their power play, which could be improved to the levels of Hull, Swindon, and Leeds. And yeah, it's just a great sign. I think every team would have loved a Dom Gabay.
Yeah, it is a very clever bit of business from MK. They've looked at a guy that is a proven point scorer in a struggling team, and they've thought, let's take him into a competitive team. He's not going to do any worse than what he was in obviously Bees, but he's always come into this league since the first day he's come in. He's always been that guy who's scoring points. So I remember he scored on his debut. It was against Basingstoke. He's a goal scorer. But I think, like you said, in MK, I don't think we're going to see all those goals this year. I think we're going to see a lot more of an all-rounded game from Gabay. He doesn't have to go out there every other shift and try and score a goal. He can have nice ice time, not overplaying ice time, and he can use every part of his game. He's a very strong guy on the puck. He's very hard to knock off. You've seen that in Bees. He keeps hold of the puck really well. And in those big zones on that big ice pad, a guy like Gabay, who can hold it in the zone and really wait for the perfect play, is going to be so key. And I think Gabay, again, is another guy that will work on any sort of line. You can put him with any sort of player and he'll produce for you. And I think Gabay just strikes me as a guy that's really easy to coach. Like, he can do everything, and I feel like you can just tell him to do something and he'll be fine doing it. So I think Gabay is, again, going to be another player that's going to fit straight into that MK team. And like you, I'm excited to see him in a competitive team, in that competitive environment, because I think he can live up to those competitive expectations.
Yeah, and he deserves to play in a team as well, which is
100%.
competing for leagues.
He is gonna miss Ballas though.
Yeah, Ballas will be. Yeah, he's gonna miss his fun.
Ballas will be in the crowd.
They've signed Ukrainian forward, 30 years old, Elliot Karenchuk, who comes in only 5'9", but he looks like a tricky little winger. Ukrainian international, played at the World Championships, and yeah, I think he'll add a little bit of something which they don't have. And he's small, he's tricky, kind of makes up for that Max Stewart, I think, Charlie. Max Stewart was small, tricky, but got some points, and I think this guy's going to come in and do that. And we've seen a lot of players come out of the Polish league, and they've been good in this league as well. So yeah, whether he's the one who might get dropped, scratch some games, and Spadafore comes in or whatever, this guy's going to come in and is going to cause the opposition problems from what we can see. It's so hard to judge just looking at what they've played in.
Yeah, and I like the fact he's 30 years old. Some would see that as maybe a slight negative, but I think in an MK team where you've added quite a lot of new youngsters, I think having an import who's 30, who's got experience at international stage, who's played in the Polish league for the last 3 years and had 3 pretty decent years, I think he's got a high upside. They've got very European imports this year. Have they got any? Yeah, just Spadafore from Canada, and then all the others are European, which is very unusual in quite a Canadian dominant league. So I think they have what I think is quite unique about them is they're going to have quite a European style to them because of their imports. So yeah, smaller guy. Apparently he's very heavy shotted, like as in a heavy shot. So I think he'll be a good asset to them. And he comes from
really heavy shotted, and he's got heavy shots. Thanks for clarifying.
No problem, mate.
But no, I agree.
Playmaker and a speedster as well. So if he's got all 3 of them, then he's a good player.
It's like NHL, just giving him the attributes. And then the final one for me, this is the most exciting one. Is Jani Jokinen. And he comes from the Finnish league, 25 years old. He'll be hungry. He just captained his team in the Metis. Hockey. Playing hockey. Sorry, that is so bad.
That was bad.
That was bad. He got half a point a game. So 24 points in 49 games. And yeah, I think this guy's going to come in and he's going to be that typical European style import. Great skater, got a great two-way game, is going to come in, got a bit of skill about him as well. I love this signing, and I think I think he's the one who I'm really looking forward to seeing next season for Milton Keynes. And he also played with Forsberg, didn't he, Dan? So he already knows someone who is on the team, and I'm sure Forsberg was a big part of that. Come on, let's come over here, come to Milton Keynes. You're playing in front of 2,200 fans a week. We've just won the playoffs. Let's create something together. So, yeah, I think this is a great little signing for Milton Keynes, and that completes a very large roster. Lewis Conroy as well as a young lad. I'm not sure if he's been given a two-way yet, but they've got 14 forwards, 8 defensemen, and 2 goalies. So, yeah, a very big roster. And you've also got Tim Wallace, who could also come in and play. I know he's going to coach. He says he's going to coach the whole season, but you've got that option there if you need to play him.
6 imports.
6 imports. No, I'm not. I'll say 5. It is 5.
Yeah.
Right, expectations then. It's a very new team, but they've got a lot of players in who look pretty good. So, Charlie, actually, I'll start. We will let you start with this one.
Start with me. Win a trophy.
Okay.
And yeah, win a trophy. I don't know. I think this MK, you've signed 5 imports. Win one of the big 2. Win one of the playoffs or the league. Like the expectations there. They've signed a lot of new guys. It's going to take a bit of time to gel, but like you said, they've got to build off of this playoff win. And I don't know if they come away from a season of just winning a cup and be happy. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't really decide. They're a difficult team to put expectations on because they've got obviously 3 new imports who I think are going to play more likely. And then they've got like 3-4 new Brit forwards and 3 new Brit D. Like there's so much change. And so change can be a really positive thing, but it can take time. So yeah, for me, I think win one of the big 2 trophies when you're a team the size of MK. Signing 5 imports is a statement. Signing some of the Brits they have. Yeah, I think they've got to go on to win one of the playoffs or the league.
Yeah, for me, just putting it out there, I've said my expectation for Swindon, Leeds, and MK is all to win the league. Obviously, only one of them can win it, but Milton Keynes, man, they have to win the league in terms of the team the player they've still got County, they've still got Norris, they got a full season of Norris, a full season of Forsberg, and you bring in 3 quality imports like that. You've got Wallace full time from the bench. I know it's a lot of change, but MK have to show that they can be the best team in the league. Leeds have been the best team in the league for the last 3 seasons because they've gone back to back league champions. I think MK need to take that step up now and win the league. But it's going to be tough because of how good Swindon and Leeds' roster looks as well going into next season. But obviously, only one of them can win it. I think they need to really win the league. That's the one thing, Dan, they haven't done since coming back to the National League. So I think there is pressure on this season, obviously, with 5 imports as well.
Yeah, I mean, they made that big step last season, and then you could sort of say they made a step back this year. Not in a bad way, but sort of like a rebuilding way. Like, yeah, it's like a new sort of start again for MK. Like, they've not signed these new guys that are obviously going to take time to grow and stuff like that. They've signed new guys to the league, new guys to the team, but can also bring in that skill. And you just don't know what skill they're going to bring. You don't know if they're going to be able to match what skill they had last year. They might do it, and fair play. I mean, that's a really good recruitment from a tough recruitment, you could say, sort of with the players that you've lost. But I wouldn't put a league expectation on them yet. I think it's very hard to sort of put a league expectation on them.
I think high expectations you have to. I think you do. It's Milton Keynes, man.
Yeah, there's going to be high expectations on them, but the new guys in there, I don't think are built for like a league-winning campaign. The guys that they brought in, I think it's very hard to predict what they're going to be like. In that team.
It's a bit of a question mark on it.
But I think the cup and the playoffs, I think when we've seen MK in Coventry, they've done well. So I think winning Coventry again would be definitely their target, and they want to do a lot better in the cup. I think the cup was the biggest thing for them last year that they should have really won. They shouldn't, like you said, they shouldn't have slipped up on Romford. Again, they just need to make sure those stupid games that they end up losing, they just need to get rid of them and sort of win those games comfortably. But yeah, I think if you're not going to win the league, then you've got the playoffs in the cup there that I would expect MK to win or at least get to the final of.
Yeah, that's
Of
fair
both.
enough. I think the big thing for me is can Tim, a bit like you said with Aaron Naldan for the
Yeah.
Swindon special, can Wallace coach this team with a lot of new players, with a lot of hungry players who are going to want a lot of PP time, PK time, good 5-on-5 minutes? Can you coach this team across a 54 game season to win the league and beat Leeds? Because Leeds is the target. Leeds are the team who've done it. They've done it for the past 3 years, and you've got to beat them. So yeah, it's just consistency for me and start in the league strong. I know they've got a lot of new players, and it's going to take a little bit of time to find the right lines and who plays well with who. But you've got to still start the league strong because you don't want to get to Christmas and you're already 4 to 6 points behind Leeds because Leeds end the league so strong. So yeah, we'll get on to ones to watches then to end this Milton Keynes special. A lot of new players to pick from, or current players. Dan, we'll go back to you to start this one then. Go on.
I'm going to go with Josh Kelly.
Oh,
I know
okay.
he's obviously a Bison player, so I've got a little soft
Yeah,
spot
bit
for
of
him. But
bias there,
I
mate.
actually, yeah, a little bit biased, but you know, I've been out for 2 years, so you've got to have a bit of bias back in there. But I genuinely am very interested in what Josh Kelly's going to do in this team. Like, obviously, like I said before, I've seen him in Basingstoke. I've seen what he can do, and I'm just very interested to see how he sort of adapts to this team. And I think it could go either way for Kelly. Fingers crossed he has an injury-free season. That's one thing I do want for him. He doesn't deserve to be out with concussion as much as he had been. It's just an unfortunate thing. But yeah, fingers crossed for an injury-free season, and hopefully he does sort of step up to the plate for the MK team and really compete for silverware.
Nice one, Charlie.
I'm going for Jarvis Hunt.
Okay, nice one, yeah.
I know what I'm going to get from him. I feel like he's someone I can predict. I think he's going to add a bit to their third line. For me, I think from an MK perspective, I think they've actually upgraded their third line centre. I'd say he's an upgrade on McEwen now, and I think he's what they needed. I think MK fans are going to be pleasantly surprised. Another guy who's probably going to go under the radar because he's not super flashy, but I think he'll play a very important role in this season. But I can imagine for quite a bit longer as well. I think he'll be there for a long time.
Nice one. They've got 3 new import forwards, so I'm going to have to choose one of them. And I'm going to go with Yanni Jokinen, 25 years old, as I said. He looks really, really, really good. Was a captain in your team at 24 years old in the Finnish league, in the Metis. So I'm going to go with Yanni Jokinen. I think he's going to be, I think two-way wise, he's going to be so good to watch, and I love watching out for players who do the defensive work as well as the forward work. So yeah, big season for Milton Keynes, and a lot of new players, but it's going to be exciting as always. Let us know what you think with the Milton Keynes Lightning. Make sure you follow all of our socials at Macca's Talk Hockey. We will have a few more specials as well coming up. Make sure you watch all of the ones if you haven't seen them already, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.